Let's be real, if you're a CIO, you've probably budgeted for a future powered by autonomous AI. And for a lot of you, Salesforce's Agentforce was a huge part of that promise. Well, their recent major strategy shift is changing the whole game, and it comes with a hidden price tag for your IT department that we absolutely need to unpack. Right here, this quote just cuts straight to the heart of it. The dream was this amazing hands-off AI that would just work. But the new reality? Yeah, not so much. Salesforce is basically signaling that the Wild West era of AI autonomy is over. And guess who's now responsible for building the fences? You. Okay, so to really get why this shift is such a big deal, we need to rewind a bit. Let's remember the original vision. What was the promise that got so many IT leaders so excited in the first place?
I mean, the pitch was incredible, right? A truly self-directed agent that could handle customer issues from start to finish, no micromanagement needed. It was supposed to use its fancy reasoning engine to plan and act on the fly. For you, the CIO, this sounded like the Holy Grail, a huge productivity boost with a super clear return on investment.
But, as we all know, there can be a massive gap between a controlled pilot and the absolute chaos of real-world production. And it turns out, for autonomous AI agents, that gap was a total minefield. So here's the biggest problem, the one that kept everyone up at night. It wasn't just that the agents were wrong sometimes. No, they were confidently wrong. And let me tell you, that is the absolute worst-case scenario. It's an AI giving a customer totally incorrect information with complete authority, creating massive reputational and, even legal risks. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, developers were trapped in what Salesforce's own engineers called a doom prompting cycle. Think about that. They were just endlessly rewriting prompts, trying to beg the agent to behave correctly. It was like trying to fix a broken engine by just changing the oil again and again. It's frustrating, and it just doesn't work. And let's break down exactly how this was failing in the real world. We're talking sky-high operating costs, totally unpredictable behavior, like the same customer query would get a different answer every time, and agents just stalling out or going rogue. For critical industries like finance and healthcare, you just can't have that. The autonomous model was simply too unreliable for prime time. So, faced with all these very real, very expensive failures, Salesforce had to do something. They made a major pivot, moving away from that dream of full autonomy to a new model they're calling hybrid reasoning. And the trade-off here is crystal clear. The old way was all about flexibility, but that came at the cost of being predictable. This new way, it flips that script entirely. You get high predictability, which is great, but you totally lose that no micromanagement dream. Now your team is responsible for engineering all the guardrails. Now, it's really important to know this is not just a Salesforce story. This is an industry-wide course correction. From Microsoft and OpenAI to ServiceNow, all the big players are realizing that pure, unguided autonomy is just too risky for the enterprise. Everybody is adding more rules and more controls. So what does this all mean for you, the IT leader who bought into that original vision? Well, this pivot basically drops a whole new pile of work, cost, and complexity right onto your team's plate. Because all of a sudden, your team is on the hook for a whole new bunch of tasks. You're not just buying a tool anymore. You're now responsible for mapping out entire workflows, scripting the agent's behavior, managing prompt costs, running full testing and QA cycles. These are real hard costs that, let's be honest, were probably not in the budget you got signed off for. And as this quote from Chandrika Dutt points out, the financial shock is real. That productivity shortcut you were so excited about, it can very quickly turn into a services-heavy engagement. And you know what that means? Hiring expensive consultants just to get the platform to work safely. This goes way beyond the budget. It becomes a political problem because now you, the CIO, have to march back to your board and your business partners and explain why the vendor completely changed direction, why the project's taking longer, and why the whole cost-benefit equation has totally changed. And that is not an easy conversation to have. Okay, so the situation has changed. It's a challenge, for sure, but it is manageable. So let's pivot ourselves and talk about an actionable playbook for how you can respond strategically. All right, here it is, a clear 4-step plan to navigate this new reality. First, you've got to shift your mindset. Second, staff up appropriately. Third, you have to reset expectations across the business. And fourth, you've got to be smart about where and how you apply these new controls. Step 1 really is the most important. It's a critical mindset shift. You have to stop thinking of your AI agent as a digital employee that you just hire and let loose. Instead, you need to treat it as a powerful but very complex embedded capability, a system that your team has to actively build, manage, and most importantly, operate. And to operate it, you need the right people. Staffing for this means building a whole new kind of team. We're not just talking about coders here. You're going to need designers who can map out conversation flows, domain experts to set the business rules, and compliance leads to handle governance. Honestly, without this team, your AI strategy is never going to get past the pilot stage. So as we wrap this up, this is the fundamental question that you have to take back to your organization. Are you treating your AI initiatives like a black box you just license and cross your fingers? Or are you truly prepared to build the team and the processes to operate it like a core business system? Because your answer to that question is going to define your success in this new era of enterprise AI.